A few weeks ago, I posted my playthrough of the new fighting fantasy novel, Secrets of Salamonis by Steve Jackson. I'll put a link to it in the description below. But basically, I didn't get very far. But now I've managed to make my way through the whole book, and there's some interesting things going on there. I won't spoil all the secrets, but I'll try to give you a flavour of the whole structure. Firstly though, I'll show you how I managed to get to the end. Some might call this cheating, I call it getting my money's worth. Okay, so basically you write down all the paragraph numbers from 1 to 480. When you read a paragraph, tick it off. When you come to choices, write down the paragraph number that gives you that choice, so you can easily backtrack later. And this is what it looks like when you've completed it. I wouldn't really recommend doing this yourself. It takes a very long time, and it would probably be more enjoyable just to play through it properly. Not all game books would suit this format though, but this one divides neatly into lots of little sub areas. So once you get through one section, you can then backtrack and see how else you could have finished that section before moving on to the next one. The first section is how you start the book, in a cave with a two-headed ogre, and you have to either fight it or stealth your way through. This seems intended to give you more of a traditional fighting fantasy scene right at the start, because it's a while before you have this sort of encounter again. But this turns out to be a dream, and then you find yourself in the section I got stuck in the last video, where you're just wandering around Salamonis with no money or equipment, trying desperately to make enough money to get by. You need 1 gold piece to recover your backpack and carry on the adventure, otherwise you just have to test your luck, which is a 50-50 chance. Having gone through all the options, this is really unfair. You can only make half a gold piece working at the cannery. You can make one by doing the grifting option, but only if you make all the right choices. And you immediately get the option to spend it on the night in the inn. So figuring all this out the first time round is practically impossible. If you do manage to get past that stumbling block though, the game opens up considerably. But before you can go on any actual quests, you get the option to train, to improve your abilities and pick up special skills, all of which will come in useful. Definitely visit the Temple of Lagan, as that will provide much needed clues. Also useful is learning spelling. At numerous points in the book you'll be given a simple riddle to solve, and if you translate the answer into numbers using the handy guide at the back of the book, you just go to that numbered paragraph and usually skip a really hard fight. After the training you finally get to go on some quests. There's 7 to choose from with various levels of difficulty. The Amano statistic stops you from going on quests that you might not be prepared for yet. So you have to do the easy ones before you can do the hard ones. But it's not a simple matter of doing them all one by one. There is a days of the week mechanic. After completing each quest, a certain number of days pass, and if you find yourself on a certain day of the week, the end game kicks in. I'm not going to tell you what it is, as it's meant to be a bit of a surprise. But if you haven't completed certain quests by then, you are unable to finish the game. I won't say which ones, obviously. To make matters worse, you also have to have bought a certain item along the way, in order to complete the game, and you are given absolutely no warning beforehand that it might be important. It does seem like the game is meant to be played multiple times, before you have any chance of beating it. But you have to wonder how many people will really go to all the trouble of drawing up another character sheet and playing through it all properly several times over. I guess we must all have done that in the days before video games, but whether today's kids can be bothered is a good question. As it's the 40th anniversary of Fighting Fantasy, there are lots of references to the old books, some of which I still remember, despite not having played them for decades. There is a long sequence that will be familiar to anyone who's played Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and the bad guys from several other books are mentioned throughout. Overall, it's been a fun experience playing through this book and reliving my childhood. I would imagine anyone who played the original books in the past will enjoy this as well, if you don't mind it being quite a bit more difficult than you may remember. It's also perfectly suitable for kids. The writing style seems to be aimed at, 9 to 11 year olds, somewhere between Lemony Snicket and His Dark Materials, and there's nothing too graphic in any of the descriptions of your character's death. So that was a lot of fun. I might well try something similar with another game book in future. though I will try and play it through properly at least once. There's a few old ones from my childhood that I never got around to playing, and there's some new ones which have been published recently, which do sound very interesting. So you may see similar videos from me in the future. If you don't want to miss any, then press subscribe, or just like this video to show me you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.